Students, hope you all are fine at your home. So today we're starting with a new unit, that is unit 3 with the genetics. So let's get started. Okay, so if we talk about the genetics, the very first thing which comes into our mind is the father of genetics, that is Gregor Johann Mendel. So the father of genetics is G.J. Mendel. Right, so he's the father of genetics and he was born in 1822, that is 22nd July, and he actually worked on pea plant that we already know, we have studied in the 10th class, and actually he was a mathematician. He was not a biologist, right? So he actually got birth in 22nd July 1822 and he basically died in 1884, and he worked on pea plant for actually 7 years. Clear? So the father of genetics is Gregor Johann Mendel. He born in 1822, 22nd July. He was basically a mathematician and he died in 1884, and he worked on pea plant for 7 years. Actually, he worked on pea plant, but this work was not actually published, and the people usually don't know about the Mendel work. Why? What was the reason behind it? So the reason behind why the work of Mendel was not recognized by most of the people is that he did not publish his work in international journals. Like if you publish anything in the local newspaper, only few people can recognize or see that journal in about your contributions. But if you give some addition ad in the international journals, or you publish your work in the international journal, the most of the people around the globe can look into your contribution. So he failed to do so. And the second reason was that I told you he was a mathematician. So the various biologists did not accept his work, did not accept his contribution or works towards the pea plant about the genetics. So that was the major issues the Mendel faced, because his work was not published globally and most of the people don't know about their contribution. Clear? Later on in 1900, there were three scientists who actually worked on the Mendel principle about the genes, and the name was Hugo de Vries, Correns, and the third person who joined them was Schermak. Clear? So they were the three scientists who actually worked on the Mendel principle. Next, I told you the Mendel worked on pea plant. So why he chose pea plant? The scientific name of the pea plant is Pisum sativum. We all know it, and right? So the scientific name for the pea plant is Pisum sativum. The major reason why Mendel chose pea plant is that the first thing, the life cycle or the lifespan of pea plant is just 3 to 4 weeks. So we usually, if we work on particular thing, we want our results to become faster, right? So he worked on pea plant because the lifespan of the plant was just 3 to 4 weeks. He used to get his result. The second thing is that it is a self-pollinating plant. So it does not require any external pollinator plant or external pollinators like wind, water, insect for the pollination. So it is a self-pollination plant. The third thing is that it has lots of contrasting characters. The pea plant have lots of, basically 7 contrasting characters that we used to study in pea plants. Right? Let me discuss about those contrasting characters. The flower color, plant height, flower position, next seed color, seed shape, pod color and pod shape. So these were the 7 contrasting characters that actually attracted Mendel towards his studies. And there were 2 phenomena, that was, one is dominant and the recessive character, which I will discuss you in the forthcoming classes, that what is dominant and what is recessive. So basically these 7 characters he usually studied on the pea plant. The flower color violet in the dominant character and white in the recessive. So you can see here there are 2 contrasting characters about the flower which attracted him towards his studies. So plant height, tall, dwarf. Next is the flower position, one is axial and the other one is terminal. Next, seed color. So seed color, yellow, green. Seed shape, round, wrinkled. Pod color, green, yellow. Next, pod shape, inflated and constricted. So these were the 7 contrasting characters of the pea plant which attracted Mendel. Right? Next, let me discuss about the terms of various genetic field. Okay, so let's start with the gene. The first character or the first term. This gene is nothing but a unit of heredity. This was actually called by the Mendel as a factor. When Mendel used to work, he did not coin the term gene. He used to call the genes as the factors. Later on, Johansen, he coined the term gene. Clear? So gene is nothing but the unit of hereditary. It was called as factor by the Mendel and the term was coined by the Johansen. Next, allele. Okay, I told you that there are 2 factors or there are 2 characters of a particular gene. The one is dominant, the other one is recessive. See, the dominant character is always expressed by the capital letter. For example, if we take a case of tall plant, so the tall character is been represented by the capital T. Okay, and it always occur in pairs. You can look it here. So recessive always denoted by the small letters, right? Suppose if this is the case, capital T and small t. This is also in pair. So here capital T is the dominant one which always express itself, and T represent here the recessive character which do not express in the presence of dominant gene. Clear? So the alleles are nothing but the 2 factors or the 2 character which is present in a particular gene, which always occur in pair. So if we talk about the dominant gene, it always denoted by the capital letter, it always express itself. The second one is the recessive, it always represented by the small letters and it always do not express itself in the presence of the dominant gene. So next is the homozygous condition and heterozygous condition. Homozygous condition and heterozygous condition. So homo means same and hetero means different. Homo means same and hetero means different. See, in this case, this is actually, there are two factors which are same, right? That means this condition is said to be homozygous. Look at this. These two factors also same. So this is homozygous condition. But where the factors are different in this case, see, they are different from each other. So this condition is said to be heterozygous condition. Clear? Next is phenotype and genotype. Phenotype and genotype. Phenotype is the appearance, outer appearance of a particular thing. How the physical appearance of a particular thing, how it visible. It is tall or it is dwarf, it is purple color or white color. All these characters is nothing but the phenotype of a particular organism. Next, genotype, that is nothing but the genetic makeup. Genetic makeup of organism which you can't see. That is, if plant is said to be tall, that the genotype of that particular plant is said to be capital T or capital T small t, because this condition is homozygous tall and this condition is heterozygous tall, and dominant gene expressive over the recessive gene. Clear? So this is the phenotype and genotype of a organism. The next thing, we talk about the cross. We talk about the cross. For example, I told you there are two different contrasting characters which Mendel used to study, right? If a plant is said to be tall or dwarf, so he take the gametes of this plant and he crossed, yani the reproduction between two contrasting character is said to be cross, right? So the reproduction between these two plants is said to be cross. The next thing is, if we talk about the generation, so we used to say the filial generation 1, filial generation 2, that we have studied in the 10th standard. For example, the Mendel crossed two plants, one is tall, homozygous tall, with the dwarf plant having small tt. So he taken one parent here and the other parent here. Clear? So what was the result? This was the result we used to get, isn't it? So the first generation coming out of the cross by crossing or reproducing the gametes of the parent, the first generation we are getting is said to be filial generation 1 or filial generation 2, which we used to get after the selfing of F1 generation. Clear? So what is filial generations? The generation which we are getting by crossing two different parents. The generation we are getting on the first time is the F1 generation, that is filial generation 1, and after crossing the F1 generation with F1 generation, that is known as selfing, we used to get F2 generation. Clear? For example, let me show you. So here the result was, you can see all four boxes have this result. So that means all plants are tall. All plants are tall. So this is the phenotype of a particular plant, that plants are tall. This is the phenotype and this is the genotype. I got it F1 generation. So F1 generation upon selfing, we used to get F2 generation. We used to get F2 generation. For example, I told you that selfing. So I'll cross this plant with the same genotype. So I used to get, just look at here. So one parent here, the other parent here. So by crossing these two gametes, I got the first result. Then with this second one here and here we go. So we got three tall plants, like this one is also tall, this one also tall, and one dwarf plant. Clear? So this generation is said to be F2 generation. F2 generation. Clear? Okay. The next thing which we're going to study about the crosses. Like I told you that this is nothing but the reproduction between two different parents. So cross can be monohybrid or dihybrid. Monohybrid or dihybrid. Monohybrid cross are those crosses in which we consider a single trait. For example, we have considered the height of the plant. This is a single character. We are talking about the height of the plant. So we cross tall plant with the dwarf. Right? So where we considered only one character, so this is called monohybrid cross. Where we considered two characters at the same time. Suppose I have checked round and yellow seeds are crossed with wrinkled and green seed. So here I have taken two different traits. One is the shape of the seed and the other one is the color of the seed. Clear? So I have taken two different characters at the same time to study. So this is known as dihybrid cross. Clear? Next, the last one is the Punnett square. Punnett, it was given by Punnett, and we take this representation to show the various F1 and F2 generation which we get after crossing the parents. Clear? So this kind of representation like this. Here we used to get male and female gametes, for example capital T and small t, right? So we used to take two different gametes on the alternate side and we cross them. So whatever result we are getting, we used to say that generation, F1 generation, and this kind of representation which we are taking to represent the gametes or the F1 generation is known as Punnett square. So that's all for today. In the next class we will discuss about the Mendel contribution about his laws. Thank you so much.